Our next speaker is Dr. Wang Huiyao. He is the founder and president of Center for China and Globalization. So, in Hong Kong and Guangzhou, Nansha, he is my colleague in the Hong Kong, Guangdong, Macau Cooperation Organization. He is a very experienced economist. At the same time, he also works in the State Council. Right now, Dr. Wang is in Beijing. I believe that he will explore this topic from a macro point of view. RCEP and future developments. Over to you, please, Dr. Wang. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy Wong, for moderating this webinar. You have done a good job. I have listened to the previous speakers, and I think their sharing is very timely. So today, I would like to talk about how Hong Kong can capitalize on the opportunities under our. We know that last year, or at the end of November, in the year before last year, after it was signed, it took effect on the 1st of January this year. So it is about the developments in Asia, including China. There are altogether 15 countries under RCEP, and it is a very important milestone in Asia's development, also to Hong Kong. So I think the Asian century is coming. Almost 200 years ago, Asia had 2/3 of global population and more than half of global income. Later on, the deterioration in the Qing dynasty, well, there was much impact caused. And then in the 60s, in the 20th century, well, Asia has become the poorest continent in the world. But after that, we have seen rapid development. If you look at growth in per capita GDP in Asia, it is rising, and its share of global economy is also getting bigger. Right now, contribution of Asia to global economy exceeded 60%. And China's estimate, in 2040, Asia will contribute to more than half of global GDP. And this may happen even earlier. Our consumption will become even bigger. Why is Asia so important? Well, in the past 1 year or so, we organized 20 global dialogues with first-class strategists, scholars in Europe and the US. And together with a very renowned professor in Singapore, we had a number of conversations. So I'm talking about Professor Ma Kai-shaw. So here you can see a book being published, The Asian 21st Century. So for this book, it states that Asia is going to be an important promoter and facilitator of unified development of the world. So the strong lead of the Western countries may come to an end in the 21st century. Since 1840, Asia had been lagging behind, and very soon we're going to see the return of Asia. And then there's also the peaceful rise of China. And there's going to be a new development trend globally. So RCEP development, it is going to see even bigger development. So we have organized a number of events. And here you can see a launch of the new book by Professor Kishore Mahbubani. And then we have dialogue with also Kent Corder and also Carrie Brown from London Imperial College. So we have had first century. So in only 4 days, the number of downloads already exceeded 200,000, and right now more than 1 million. So this book is really very popular, well received. So it is actually related to the start of RCEP and also the accelerated integration in Asia. I think this book is worth reading. So Professor in the book made 4 points. Of course, in history, the emergence, the rise of the West had changed the world and to a large extent reshaped Asia. And then, however, the rise of China and Asia cannot be stopped. And right now, if you look at RCEP and also other potential integration of economy and currency integration, digital economy integration, RCEP, CPTPP may achieve a big push. So in China, in our conversation, he said that infrastructure is the best developed in China. And the rail line between China and Laos had been commissioned, and there is also the maritime Silk Road. All these developments are going to boost mutual access. RCEP developments can be expedited as a result. I think the previous speakers have made good points. RCEP can expedite regional economic integration and the rise of Asia. So actually, between China, Japan, and Korea, to a certain extent, the free trade agreement has been accomplished through RCEP. And then for Hong Kong and 13 RCEP member nations, there are already free trade areas or free trade agreements. We hope that Hong Kong can emerge as a connecting center for RCEP. So there would be big impact on trade and investment. Trade rules and trade barriers will be greatly eliminated. And then regional trade is going to be more convenient. Flow of resources, industrial chains can be reshaped. And then there would be more efficient utilization of local resources or regional resources for ASEAN countries and so on. There would be a lot of benefits if SMEs can also join. So the industrial chains can be recreated or reshaped. During the pandemic, I think this is the biggest trade agreements being born. It is going to play a big role, and in the post-pandemic days, I think costs can come down. There would be clearer division of labor, businesses can recover, the market can be upgraded, and so on. So I am very confident in the post-pandemic recovery. In the 21st century, it is the Asian century. in terms of differences between the developed and the undeveloped, I think a better equilibrium can be achieved, and there will be a totally new layout as a result. RCEP can strengthen the stability in regional trade, and there will be better confidence among consumers, and there would be a big market with the biggest middle class scale. In China, for the middle class, it amounted to like 200-300 million already, together with Singapore, Japan, Korea, and other RCEP nations. I think the middle class will even be further enlarged. So right now, we are talking about deglobalization very often, and then we want to promote globalization. We promote free trade. We are against unilateralism. So no matter whether we're talking about goods or services or investment, growth can be promoted. And then there can be industrial chain, supply chain, and blockchain, standardization of trade standards, and so on. So with all these soft powers, I think the hardware can also be enhanced. Among RCEP countries, there will be big synergy. So Asia, and also there would be further birth of other kinds of alliances and integration. If Hong Kong can seize the RCEP new opportunities, well, I personally think that there are many new opportunities arising from RCEP. Hong Kong's role can be bigger as a financial center. So Hong Kong can become a financial center for RCEP, because in Hong Kong, we already have very convenient trade and investment mechanisms and facilities, and we have Greater Bay Area at our back. So our status as a financial center can become more important. So we should actively explore more. And then there can be reorganization, restructuring of industrial chain and value chain, especially about trade of services. We can find our appropriate role. And then there will be new investments. For Hong Kong, in ASEAN markets, there are many new opportunities in investment. So I have other new ideas which are not stated in my PPT. I think Hong Kong has some unique strengths. Can we create an RCEP research center? I believe so. We can pull together our resources to build a research center. My second suggestion is, can we build an RCEP International Talent Center in Hong Kong? Hong Kong is the most welcomed, most popular place in attracting talents. We are very close to Greater Bay Area, mainland China, and we are in the center of Asia. I think it would be great to have RCEP Talent Center in Hong Kong. Third, so can Hong Kong Coalition establish an alliance, a think tank alliance, so we can pull together a number of think tanks together so that we can build an alliance here. Then we can build and discuss how we can further enhance and capitalize on RCEP for bigger benefits. Just now, Mr. Kenneth Wong also said that we have got the Greater Bay Area Committee in Nanshan, so we can build an RCEP demonstration area in Hong Kong, as well as in Nansha. So that can be based in Nansha, and then with Hong Kong, there can be a new demonstration zone together. So in Hong Kong and Nansha, we can also build a talent pool so that we can attract global talents to Hong Kong and GBA. We can relax some talent admission restrictions in order to capitalize on the strengths. Hong Kong is an international financial center. All along, we are given a lot of attention, and we have free flow of talents and so on. And our international trade throughput is very big. Our ports are very busy, and we are in the central location. If you look at Australia and New Zealand and ASEAN, 10 ASEAN countries, as well as Japan, Korea, and mainland China, well, we are actually in the center among 15 RCEP countries. So we can serve as a free trade center, talents alliance, and so on. We can also organize RCEP annual conference in Hong Kong. So a lot can be done. We want to establish many pilot schemes here in Hong Kong to build a long-term RCEP development scheme. So I think this is a very good demonstration area for RCEP. We already have one country, two systems. We also play a role as a super connector. So I think the Hong Kong TDC representative has made some very good points. We enjoy a lot of unique strengths, so we can actually hold a central role in RCEP. Hong Kong is not only China's Hong Kong and GBA's Hong Kong. We are also a center point for RCEP. So I really think that it is important for Hong Kong to join RCEP. I think ASEAN has already accepted is going to embrace even bigger development. And then international services. We have huge network of retail, sales, manufacturing, and processing. More importantly, we are in Greater Bay Area. So all these are strengths of Hong Kong together with the strengths of the mainland China and RCEP. All these can support Hong Kong's future prosperous development. I think these are very important. So CCG is an internationally leading think tank, and we have the 64th position. We are the only Chinese think tank being recognized by the United Nations. So we welcome friends from Hong Kong, for example, Mr. Kennedy Wong and the Hong Kong Coalition to work with us. So let's promote the role of Hong Kong in RCEP. That's all from me. Thank you very much.